Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Behind the Screen. Today we are going to be talking about the newest, most exciting announcement that has come out in RPG news recently. The announcement from Paizo about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now, if you have been living under a rock this week, then let me fill you in. Paizo announced this week that they are finally going to be releasing a new edition of Pathfinder. This will be Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and it will be coming out sometime in 2019. However, we don't have to wait that long. The actual playtest of Pathfinder 2nd Edition will be coming out on August 2nd, 2018 and be released at Gen Con, which super excited because I will be there, which means I'll be picking up a copy. The playtest is going to include the Pathfinder playtest rulebook, the Pathfinder playtest adventure, and the Pathfinder playtest flip mat multi-pack. Yeah, there's a lot of words in there. Each one unfortunately is sold separately, but I figure if you're gonna do it, why not just do it? But yes, so that will be our first real look at it. But they said if you happen to be at one of the following conventions this spring, you'll have a chance to either playtest or watch a playtest of it. That would be GaryCon in March, which is happening this weekend, I believe. I think it starts today. PaizoCon in Seattle, UK Gamescom in Birmingham, Origins Game Fair, PaizoCon UK, also in Birmingham. Apparently they really like Birmingham. And then finally at Gen Con in Indy in August. And that is when it will officially be released. And I'm assuming there will be lots of opportunities to play test and get our hands dirty with it there. So let's back up. Pathfinder. Now, for those of you who don't know much about me, you may know or may not know that I cut my teeth with 5th edition. This is as of less than a year ago. I am a newbie when it comes to DMing and playing. I got into it because of Critical Role, which I think a lot of people can attribute their love for Dungeons and Dragons is Matthew Mercer. That being said, I have now had the opportunity to play some 3.5 and have had a chance to play some Pathfinder. I'm actually in a Pathfinder campaign right now, so I am not completely green when it comes to the system. We also very much in our house enjoyed the Pathfinder adventure card game, which has nothing to do with this, but it has the Pathfinder label on it. Also the minis and the 11 characters are all, anyway. However, the first time I played Pathfinder, I had already played a bunch of 5th edition and watched a bunch of Critical Role, and I kind of felt the first time I played it like I was moving backwards, that I was going to a clunkier system, a less streamlined system. And I will say that I felt out of my depth at first. What is a touch AC? What is CMD? What is all these things mean? Because they were just not in 5th edition. I had to rely on my friends who are massive Pathfinder nerds to tell me all the things that I didn't understand. What is a swift action? I didn't know. So I definitely have to admit that I continue to struggle with the rules for Pathfinder because each class has so many variations and so many specific rules. I will say I bit off more than I can chew when it came to my shaman, since it's not sort of a normal character to play. Plus I have to know that I have every spell that has ever existed basically available to me every single day. So maybe next time don't play a shaman. However, there are some aspects of the game that I completely love. That would be the expanded skills list. I love the expanded skills list. I think it's really awesome. I wish that I could just take that and just plop it back on the 5e, because I would love to ask people to make swim checks. That would be great. Or make you know, so many, an appraise check. That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, there are definitely things that I think are very valuable about Pathfinder that obviously Pathfinder and 5th edition are very separate systems. Obviously they come from the same love of role-playing games, but they're very, very different. But let's go back to 2nd edition. Pathfinder 2nd edition, I should say. I don't know how us in the RPG world are going to start clarifying what we're talking about now that Pathfinder's coming out with 2nd edition, because it's just going to be a lot more syllables. We should come up with a good name for it. P2E, I don't know. I really don't have a good answer. However, let's talk about 2nd edition. So I have read a bunch of the internet, I have watched a bunch of videos, and here is sort of a breakdown of what I think is interesting about what's changing, knowing that it's only been announced for a couple days. The main focus that they're trying to take with this is allowing players to create a character that they really, really, really want to play. And I think that this plays into a lot of what I've actually heard Mike Morales talk about recently, that Wizards is paying attention to with the creation of 5th edition. When they created 5th edition, they noticed that players were more drawn to story aspects, and I think that's become more and more true as streaming has become a thing. We have this opportunity for grand story elements, for more role playing, for it's less encounter based, or it can be encounter based. But there is a definite difference between the sort of exploration phase and then encounter phase. It's like, okay, let's RP, and then over here let's do battle. Great, they're very different, but they're great. What I think Pathfinder 2nd edition is trying to do is they're trying to merge these modes. So what they said in theirs is specifically that they are going to be changing the way that initiative works in 2nd edition. And this is going to be big news to anyone who's ever played role-playing games. Initiative and dexterity are sort of like symbiotic. They always go together. That is not going to be the case for Pathfinder 2nd edition. Instead, they're trying to merge the sort of exploration and encounter modes into one fluid transition. So as you're exploring, if you have your rogue sneaking ahead to stealth and look for things, or you have your fighters who are prepared and ready, they have their swords drawn because they know they can hear the goblins around the corner, instead of rolling a dexterity-based initiative check, the default initiative check is going to be perception, which is a really fantastic skill to rely on if you're trying to perceive a threat. Or in the case of our rogue who's sneaking ahead, they're going to rely on their stealth skill in order to determine what their initiative order is, not their perception, because they're trying to hide, they're trying to be stealthy. So I think the idea and the emphasis is on more role-playing and more talking about what's happening outside of the actual encounter in order to lead into the actual encounter. So encouraging players and putting more emphasis on the sort of exploration and role-playing aspects of it in order to facilitate a more interesting combat encounter. Also, combat encounters are slightly changing. So the thing I mentioned before about swift actions, full actions being confused, they agreed that that's kind of confusing for people. So instead, they're introducing a system of 3 actions and 1 reaction. I read this and I immediately thought of action points from Divinity Original Sin 2, which I'm playing right now. So I've just been calling them action points. You get 3 action points every single time it's your turn. That's it. You can use them for anything you want to do. Anything. You can attack 3 times if you want to. You're gonna reduce your potential to hit and damage each time, but if you happen to have your sword out, swing it around, do whatever. You can use your action, one of your action points to move. You can use your action points to move 3 times if you want to. You can, basically anything that you could ever have possibly done as an action, you can do it. Things that don't count as actions are things like talking or dropping a weapon. If you're a spellcaster, your spells are now actually categorized by the number of components, and that equals the number of action points. So if you have a spell that's verbal and somatic, it costs 2 action points. Technically, that means you could get off 2 spells in 1 turn. If you have something that is only going to be, if you have a verbal somatic and then you just have a verbal, you could probably do all that. Might not be the best life choice. You might want to move away from the orc that's about to attack you, but it's possible. Other things that have changed, they have taken away 5-foot step. Doesn't exist anymore in 2nd edition. Now there is an action that's actually called Disengage, similar to the 5th edition. I think of it as a bonus action because I've been a rogue before, but similar to Disengage, basically moving away without invoking an attack of opportunity. And they've also removed CMD and CMB, which I never understood in the first place, so fine. I'm sure some people are saying that's sacrilege right now, but it always confused me. Always confused me. No matter how many times people explained it to me. Also, you have different types of feats with your characters. They are putting emphasis on characters, on character feats, on character archetypes. They're also taking away the word race. Now it's your ancestry. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. It just makes it more syllables in my book. They're also adding goblin as a core race, ancestry, and they are also adding alchemist as a class that you can take, and these are part of the core rule book now. They're also saying, they've been saying this over and over again in everything that I've read, and Paizo, I don't understand what it means, but I'm just gonna read it here because it obviously means something to somebody. They said, quote, all of the varied systems and formulas for determining your character's bonuses and statistics, like saving throws, attack bonuses, and skills, have been unified into a single easy to use proficiency system based on your choices and your character level. We don't know what that means yet. We don't know what it looks like yet, but apparently it is one unified system of proficiency. It's like, okay, that's great. We will find out more someday. The other mode of play that they are emphasizing in this new version, this new edition, is actually downtime. So I know there have been lots of discussions about downtime, especially in 5th edition recently, about how you could use crafting or other things. With the release of Xanathars, there was a lot in there about crafting. With this, it's going to be interesting because the skills that you have, let's say for crafting, if you're proficient in a particular type of crafting, you can actually work on your own weapons to increase their modifiers. So you can turn a regular longsword into a +1 longsword, into a +2 longsword, and you do that during downtime as part of your downtime activities. So you're not hunting through dungeons looking for that +1 sword. You can go home and make it in your back armory. It's just a thing, or your smithy, I guess. So I think that's really interesting. It definitely puts an emphasis on putting sort of points into those skills, and apparently you can level your skills up over time. Additionally, it sounds like there's going to be new kinds of monster creation. Having not ever DM'd Pathfinder, this means less to me, but they're making it easier to create monsters, and also things like traps and poisons and other items that have effects on the players in the game. Let's see. I think the most important thing is that we just have to keep our eyes peeled on this. The system itself won't be out. The finalized version won't be out till 2019. The playtest won't be out until August 2018. Between now and then, it sounds like they will be posting a lot of information on their blog. Oh, and you can also listen to a playthrough already that the Glass Cannon Network did, converting the original Pathfinder 1st edition module, Crypt of the Everflame. You can find that online. I will link it below. And you can check out Paizo's blog, where they're going to be posting updates, I think daily, in sort of like a Games Workshop, D&D Beyond feel, except they're written posts about what's coming in the playtest. So that's paizo.com/community/blog. And then also you can sign up to get the PDF or purchase the hard copies at paizo.com/playfinder Pathfinder playtest. Ugh, words, P's are hard. And then, so I want to take a step back and say, 5th edition will always be my bread and butter. It'll always be the thing that got me interested in role-playing games. That being said, I think Paizo and Pathfinder are on the right track when it comes to what they need to be doing to continue to engage an audience that is evolving. So we have plenty of players who are rules aficionados, I know some of them, who are very specific about, here are all these rules and it helps define the game. But I also think that there's now a new crop of people who are playing, who are interested in playing it for the game itself. And they're less concerned about the finickiness of the rules, which has always been part of 1st edition of Pathfinder. And I think this is going to open the door for even more players to start playing Pathfinder in a way that they haven't felt as accessible before in the past. We shall see. I will be keeping my eyes peeled on this. If I see other interesting things that come up, I will make sure to share them with you guys. But also, it's the internet. You can probably look them up yourself. I also want to give a big shout out to the talented team at Taking 20. I can't say that I watch a lot of your videos, but your video that you made about the new Pathfinder system is excellent. excellent. Really, really good stuff. And to my husband, who encouraged me to watch it, because he was like, you should, like, this is a good one, you should watch this one. I was like, okay, I'll sit down, I'll watch it. And it was amazing. It really helped clarify a bunch of the things about the new Pathfinder 2nd edition system, because I am such a Pathfinder noob. Even though I'm playing it, it's one thing to be a character versus really understanding all of the intricacies. So yeah, so that was a mile a minute, but I hope that helped explain a little bit of the differences between Pathfinder 1st edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition, or P2E apparently, as I'm going to be calling it. We will obviously learn more as months progress, people play it more, and then they'll take all of our feedback and make the final edition for 2nd edition. Crazy! So definitely want to get involved with that. But until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and support on Patreon if you are so inclined, and I will see you guys on the next adventure. Bye guys!